Okay. That's only one side of what history we've come across, right? Presents us. There could be that other side. There's always two sides to any coin, right? Isn't there? There's always two renderings of any story. Okay, in an argument, it's between two people, but usually, if you stop and figure out where did it start, there may be a third behind the scenes one that started it, right? Okay, the third party. So if you can get rid of seek out that third party that's causing the problems and get them out of the picture, well then maybe you'll be able to sort out the argument between you and the other. Okay, something like that. It's just a concept. Okay, that people say, yeah, okay, try this. Weed out that third person who's usually the antagonist, and then, stop and talk, and you might come to some settlement, right? Okay, so no more arguing. Okay, so where were we? Therefore, there is no need to create new systems of philosophy which will lead to confusion and misunderstanding. However, correct understanding is the key of the spiritual principles by which the ancient lives is the key to comprehending the teachings. 43. Thou art Temu, who didst create, being endowed with reason. Thou makest the colour of the skin of one race to be different from that of another. But however many may be the varieties of mankind, it is thou that makest them all to live. Verse 43 from the ancient Egyptian hymns of Amun. All that is necessary to achieve true understanding is the study of religion and spirituality with an open mind, and with those teachers who have discovered the universality of all life and all creation. This is the true legacy which the great teachers of ancient Africa, Asar or Osiris, Aset, Isis, Ptah-hotep, Imhotep, and many others have bequeathed to humanity. If you have an honest desire to understand and practice the teachings of Egyptian yoga, they will become effective in your life. What you learned previously about ancient Egyptian mythology, religion, and all which might have seemed as mysterious, mystical knowledge will fall into place as you go in knowledge and experience. Also, your previous religious training will as well come into clear view when you see that it is part of the great plan of the ancient sages who created myths and mystical philosophy to assist human beings in discovering the ultimate objective and greatest destiny. May you discover the philosophy which leads to harmony, peace, prosperity, and spiritual enlightenment. Dr. Muata, Abahaya, Ashby, 1997. So, did these original ancients give them the permissions and the go-ahead to actually do all this and then make their claims, etc., etc.? Say if they rose again and they examined it, would they say, well, how could you have learned it in such a short time, where we in ancient days started from youth and it took us about 30 to 40 years before we were able to be recognised as ordained priests of that temple? It's the question we're posing. Okay, we're not trying to undermine or anything like that. It's just a question from personal research, etc., that we're posing. They may have their different reasons. We don't know those. We may find them in their further writings, their books, etc., or their videos, the video series or whatever, right? If we're to look deeper into it. Okay, looks like it's a 10th anniversary thing. It's been going since 1995. At the time of this, it's 2005. Forward to the 10th anniversary edition. Preface. Why yoga? Yoga is, the purpose of this book is to introduce to the reader the idea that what has been referred to as yoga was practiced in ancient Egypt, Kemet, earlier than any other place in human history. Also, the author wishes to convey that the ancient Egyptian yoga is actually a discipline that is part of the overall system of spirituality of ancient Egypt called Shito Neta, or Neta. Further, the author wished to introduce the idea that Chitat Neta is the basis of Kemetic yoga, and the major world religions also have their basis in Chitat Neta. Do they? Really? So this book is a comparative religion and philosophical work that will compare the basic teachings of ancient Egyptian religion, and other religions, in the hope that the reader may gain a deeper understanding of ancient Egyptian spirituality and the source of their own religions in ancient Africa, and thereby discover the common source of religion and its deeper teachings. So, did all of those actually start from Africa, or is it that creation-wise, everything was one gigantic land mass? There were no names Africa at that time, no tectonic plate shifts, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, etc., etc., that then divided the land, valleys and seas and all that sort of stuff. As you see on the world maps, it's just one giant great land mass, as Pan-African stated on one of the other videos we found on YouTube, where he's at a certain site and he's comparing the Israeli tour guide. It's on these frames there, saying, well, this is what happened. So Israel, where Israel is now, it probably was part of Africa, or Africa was part of Israel. It's just one giant landmass before all these tectonic plate shifts and all that sort of stuff happened, right? And made vast changes, crust reform and all this sort of stuff. But these Israelis are denying it, and he says, but look, it's on their board. It's I think it's called Pangaea or something like that. He goes on about that, and they're denying, no, it's not true, that never happened. Hey, it's on your boards, your tourist boards, so why are you denying it? And there's no names given to these different geographical locations where these people, let's say, for example, use an example, the descendants of Noah, one of his sons' descendants who were the Mizraim, they soon migrated away from the family, separated from the family, went out, branched out on their own, come to a different geographical location which was really, really hot. Maybe their skin got used to, it evolved, it got used to the massive amount of heat from the sun, right? So that prevented them from getting skin cancer and all that sort of stuff, getting burnt to death or whatever. Over time, right? And they became these people. So they went to this geographical location, and in honour of their forefather, their ancestor, or whatever that maybe took them there, or they'd separated from, they called themselves Cam, or Ham rather, because K is silent in the Egyptian, the Semitic language and the Egyptian, right? So it's Ham. So they would have been descendants of Ham. They would have been Hamites, right? Not Kemites. Okay? Hamites. Or Hemites. Not Kemet. Okay? Maybe that's the name of a place there within ancient Egypt, but they are specifically Hamites. Sons of Ham, descendants of Ham. And someone like the Greeks go there to that geographical location that they're located in, and they say, oh, who are you? Oh, we are the people of Ham. Well, Hamites. Okay, oh, cool. So you're in this geographical location, this territory. There's no name yet. It's not called Africa, Asia, China, or anything like that yet, or Russia, or Persia, or whatever. Okay, and they go, okay, so you're the people that are occupying this geographical location, and you've got these territories, whatever, right? And what's that language you're speaking? Oh, this is the language of our forefather, Ham. Okay, so let's just say, for argument's sake, it's Hamitan or something, right? Just an example. Okay, Hamitic, right? Ham, whatever, the language, right, of their forefather, Ham. Okay? So they say, oh, okay. So they go back, they were Greeks, right? They go back to their land, and people say, where have you been? Oh, we went touring around the country, with different areas, territories, locations, whatever. And what happened? I came across these people. Who were they? Oh, okay, they called themselves the descendants of Ham. Oh, okay. And we were sitting there, she said, in this geographical location. Okay. And they spoke this language. Okay. So, so we added a loan word on the end of it. Okay, a Greek loan word. In suffix. Ia. Ik. Okay, so eventually when somebody made these maps, right, and they became not just territories, other people invaded it, and then it became that country, and on the maps you could see it there, right? They decided to name it, okay, this is just an example. They named it an example in relation to what we're trying to get at. They may have gone somewhere else and met similar people, right? Similar situation. And they said, okay, you're the Persians, you're the Asians. Okay, these are Asiatic. These are Aramaeans or Aramaic. These are etc., right? So when they drew the maps, it's got these names of these countries, right? They're no longer territories, they're countries. They've got cities and all that sort of stuff, right? A lot of people occupying it. So they put on a map in Greek, not Africa or anything like that. They got some other name, right? But let's use Egypt as an example. They got Egyptus, okay? And somewhere later on it becomes Egypt, okay? From the Greek into the Latin into the English, it becomes known as Egypt. You have other places, right, that get named as well. Africa, China, Hungary, whatever, they named it, right? If it's got an end suffix, okay? India is an example, right? Syria, another one. These are all Greek loanwords with the end suffix. Their language has ik on the end of it, meaning that language was possessed or owned and spoken by certain people. The Aramaic, the Semitic, the Coptic, what else is there? Amharic, etc., etc. Okay, this is all what we found through personal research. Okay, we didn't make it all up. Okay, someone else may have mentioned it as well. So what we've basically done is we've agreed with it. Okay, because it matched what they said. Right, it was established fact. A third person would mean it was synchronized, established fact, and so forth. Yeah, so here it's got the literal meaning of the word yoga is to yoke. It's like a combine, right? You have like a yolk and an egg. Okay, it's basically it's something that's sitting in the middle of something, right? It's combining, right? It's yoked. That egg yolk is that something that's basically linked to the rest of the egg, right? So yeah, it's yoked. Okay, in that term. Okay, so the literal meaning of the word yoga is to yoke or to link back. The implication is to link back to the original source, the original essence, that which transcends all mental and intellectual attempts at comprehension, but which is the essential nature of everything in creation. The science of yoga constitutes the teachings required to achieve perfection, which is the original essence of every human spirit. Nature herself offers one path to perfection. The path of nature, learning through mistakes and suffering. The process of trial and error is arduous and requires many reincarnations. Okay, this is the mystical pagan philosophical claims, right? They're not necessarily true or established fact. Through self-discipline, the path of yoga offers a shortcut to ending the pains of human existence, and to exalt the the bliss of existence by achieving self-mastery and self-realization, the realization of one's true nature, God, the capital G. The process is to become a Horus, a Christ, literally means the anointed one, an enlightened being while still alive. To attain this level of being, we must first control the forces of our own lower nature. It's your lower spiritual nature, right? Your lower nature. In essence, we must learn how to give up our egotistical ideas and allow them to dissolve so that we may discover our deepest self, who is nameless, bodiless, immortal, and eternal. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get rid of the I, the self, okay? That negative self, the negative I, we believe. To attain this essence, we must learn how to give up our egotistical ideas and allow them to dissolve so that we may discover our deepest self, who is nameless, bodiless, immortal, and eternal. Shortcut here should not be taken to mean easy, for indeed what they're asking is that we be trained to meet the challenge of life. Training implies the correct knowledge in order to perform right action and develop right thinking. That sounds like Buddhism, a fourfold path, because that's what they say: right thought, right speech, right actions, etc., etc., right? Okay, so shortcut here should not be taken to mean easy life. Easy, for indeed what we are asking is that we be trained to meet the challenge of life. Training implies the correct knowledge in order to perform right action and develop right thinking, but we need to put forth the effort and discipline to reach the goal. As yoga is the highest goal of our human existence, the highest goal requires the highest dedication, desire, and will. Yoga training allows for the development of these qualities so that we may reach the coveted goal of becoming sages, saints, Horuses, or Christs. There are many forms of yoga. In this volume, emphasis will be placed on the yoga, or is placed on the yoga and wisdom of the yoga of action, known in the Indian Vedanta philosophy as Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, respectively. However, all paths are integral to some degree, using elements of each other as needed, thus leading to the same destination. And what is that? From an advanced standpoint, any activity which allows us to move into harmony with our true selves is yoga. The symbols and philosophies that will be presented should be reflected upon with respect to the symbolic nature of the universal principles presented as they apply in one's life. No philosophical or religious system can be expected to exactly correlate with any other given system because of the nature of individual cultures, individual expressions of the ideas and individual experiences. Because everybody has their own cultural aspects, their traditions, their religion, their languages, their ideologies. So there's always that difference there. Individual expressions of the ideas and individual experiences. Therefore, accepting any myth or story as wholly factual, or completely factual, would be immature. A disciple must seek to answer the questions of the innermost heart, or probably the mind, subconscious, depends on how you look at it and understand it, perceive it. However, not always expecting answers in an intellectual form. At the level of deep introspection and study of philosophical systems, one will discover that there is a common basis to all. Faith turns into intuition through study, listening, reflection, and meditation. Yoga is a science by which humankind can find its roots. But more importantly, yoga, philosophy, and other ancient mystical philosophies are concerned with the here and now, the raising of consciousness in the very present. The science of yoga teaches us how to promote correct thinking so that we may understand who we are, why we are here, and how to obtain the highest bliss. Happiness. Correct thinking leads to correct actions. Correct actions lead to happiness while still alive. This is the highest goal. The attainment of the heights of self-mastery while still alive. In this way, life is lived to the fullest. Well, we find it really easy. We don't have to do all this. We just accepted Christ, right? And He, through the power of the Holy Spirit, okay, etc., etc., our life changed for the better. We don't have to go through all this. Okay, we feel happier, more at peace, full of joy. Read the Word, etc., etc. Listen to good gospel music, singers, whatever, and day by day, little by little, God probably speaks to us, right? And He tells us, okay, you need to change your attitude because, look, all people, I created all people, so they're human beings like you. They're not robots, they're not animals, etc., etc. Okay, so treat them as such. How do you want to be treated? Okay, they're all your equal, right? Your woman partner, your female partner is equal. She's a companion. Read the scriptures, etc., etc., like that, right? But you don't have to embrace their religion because they tell you to. Okay, you have choice. You make choices. You decide. Okay, because you know it's inwardly in you. It's inbuilt in you. I've inbuilt in you the knowledge of good and bad, right and wrong, good and evil. Okay, so you've got to stop, think. Okay, have a different mindset to what you had when you were worldly. Okay, all these things, easy peasy. We're not saying you won't have any issues, you won't have any problems, people coming at you and saying this, saying that, but it's just a hell of an easier way, right? A heck of an easier way. Yep, that we've personally have found. You don't have to go through all this technology, this technical stuff, this stand on one foot and and all that sort of stuff, right? Okay, it probably does help in a way if you practice it, but it's like basically what Jesus was saying, or Paul or whoever in the Bible, others were saying, all these traditions, you don't have to do all that stuff, cutting off the flesh and doing this, washing your hands, washing all the utensils, washing your hands to your elbows, all that sort of stuff, performing all these rituals, these small Holocaust, what they say in America, it's Holocaust, right? Sacrifices, that's what it means, right? You don't have to do all that thing. It's just, God doesn't, it's all cool, to do all that sort of stuff, but He recommends, just give me your whole being, worship me, obey my commandments, and I will give you abundant life, blessings, etc., etc. You will no longer be under my wrath and my curse, etc. You'll be under my blessing. See how easy it is? How much easier it is? This is all technical. Okay? You've got to spend years and years and years and pay money, do this, do that, stand in this pose, stand in that pose, At the end of it, what's your reward? Okay, it's health, it's physical, supposed spiritual, philosophical, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, good. Okay, it depends on the individual. If you go through all that and you think, yeah, that's great, right? It's done this, it's benefited me here and here and here and here, my family, whatever. Yeah, kudos to you. Okay, but the whole idea at the end of it is, where are you going to end up after you die? Where are you going to spend eternity? Okay, you may have done everything in the world, follow all these systems, all these yoga systems, stood on your foot for 30 years or something, hugging everybody, whatever, great stuff, right? But then when you stand before God, He says, well, what did you do with my son Christ? Did you accept him or not? No, obviously you didn't. You still were sinful, okay, etc., etc., because God knows your mind, your heart, your true intentions, whatever you do, right? He's omnipresent, whatever, right? He says, well, you rejected my son. So, you're not of me, I'm not of you. Sorry. I did speak to you in many, many, many ways, dropped you hints, etc., etc. Many people came to you, but you thought you knew better. You did all these things of the world. So what am I supposed to do with you? Sorry, but your eternal destiny isn't with me. I never knew you. you worker of iniquity, or whatever he says to you, right? Okay. Because you rejected the Son, you never accepted the Son. Okay? The uncreated Creator, Jesus the Messiah, your Redeemer, as your Redeemer, your Lord, your salvation, etc., etc. You rejected Him because you thought you knew better. So sorry, pulls the lever, off you go down to eternal oblivion, perishing, hell, however you perceive it, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I messed up. I thought I was on the right path and all this sort of stuff. Thought all this sort of stuff. I never really thought about that. Oh my gosh, now it's too late. Okay. We're not saying don't do all this. Okay, it's up to you. It's your choice, your decision. It's your life. You know. But we, life experience-wise, have tried all these different things. Maybe not as deep as this, but we just stood back in solitude because we have no partner, or whatever, for so many years. You know. Wow, bliss because we don't have someone constantly whinging at us, moaning at us, accusing us of playing around, because he, throwing jealousies at us, just trying to argue with us to put us through their tests, all this sort of stuff. Because this is what females do, right? Put the man through lots of tests. We've studied all this stuff, right? We don't need all that crap. Okay, we can do what we want, when we want, how we want, with who we want. We can think what we want. Say what we want to a limit. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. Cause them anguish or anything like that. Control your mouth, control your tongue, blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff, right? You treat other people humanely. They're a human being at the end of the day. You're a human being at the end of the day. They go to sleep like a human being. They wake up a human being. Okay? They have their animalistic nature. They lose it sometimes. Lose their cool. People steal off you, whatever. But it's all part and parcel. It's life. Life isn't fair. It's unfair. These people do that, right? Take advantage of you. But the whole idea is like forgive so that you'll be forgiven. It's really hard to forget if someone does some traumatic stuff to you, right? Really messes up your brain, doesn't it? Psychologically screws you, right? All that sort of stuff. You're affected by it. You carry it on into your adult life and your older life, right? All that sort of stuff. And something that causes you anguish, causes you to get into alcoholism, drugs, right? All that sort of stuff. To try and fill that void or try to block out those traumas that happen to you, right? And you keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it. It becomes a habit. Once the habit's formed, it becomes your addiction, and then you're like stuck in there. You can't get out of it, right? Because you've been doing it over and over and over again. It's you can use this example of say porn, alcohol, drugs, whatever, right? Crime. Okay, you can't seem to break it. Some people can if they got the strong as willpower, but others can't. There's always something. Okay, it's like, let's use an example. Say if you're continually sinning, okay, you're doing it over and over and over again. You can't seem, you're a Christian, you're worried, oh no, this one guy we heard about, he was frequenting with a woman, or he got tempted or whatever, he did this stuff with her, and he stood up and said, oh my gosh, I just sinned and all this sort of stuff. These people thought, what a crazy guy, right? If he was a Christian or whatever, he shouldn't have been in that situation. He should have been reading the scriptures and Proverbs and whatever, going to his church council and saying, hey man, I've got this problem there, how do I figure it out? How do I get over it, right? And they'll probably say, well, through praying, supplication, fasting, all that sort of stuff, which actually works. Okay? But not everybody has that capability, right, to do that, or they don't know about it.